Last time on Joss Bludgeon, hard-boiled detective Takoyaki Gummy has found himself the X factor in the conspiracy of a vengeful father's murder plot and subsequent airtight alibi constructed so he can mock the legal system by posting actual footage of the murder and forcing the courts to say, yeah, it's just AI slop, don't worry about it. Yagami is that sociopath who sleeps on a couch with no blanket, no pillow, and a leather jacket and skinny jeans who recently received enough brain damage to paralyze a horse from the waist up, and soon after that realized he had gotten an innocent school teacher's neck ventilated from excessive questioning that put her in the limelight of malignant forces, causing him to do his iconic Yagami scream. Joining him on his war against men's fashion is a hairless gorilla, ham sandwich power lad Masaharu Kaito, the former Yakuza, and as I've been told by my shareholders, peak himbo. Fumiya Sugiura is the former head of the Assassin's Creed fanboy gang and proprietor of another detective agency alongside that random guy that got promoted to the main cast. Also, he is Dream Minecraft, I don't know about that one, I can't tell. Toru Higashi hasn't been brought up that much yet.
Alright, the first rule is cardio. Now I get it.
With the power of friendship, these nunchucks I found on the floor, and energy drink can product placement template 01. Together we are the Judgmen, and last time, the man who killed Sawa, named Soma, has just assisted Kaito with his natural weakness to switchblades using exposure therapy. I don't understand why you just stab a random person, however he understands perfectly fine. After a short ideological debate over a nice game of pool, I end up winning, and we're still fighting in the cutscene, so that's how I know I'm about to get absolutely killed. Well, Yagimo, it's time to get acquainted with any food you can eat through a straw. I need to take that. Please keep succumbing to the memory loss over there.
I can feel my frontal cortex.
What's that? No more cover-ups. We don't have the budget for that. It's for you. I'll be leaving now.
Aloha!
Hello, it's the federal tax office. We were wondering about your payment regarding the,
Kill yourself!
After sending Kaito to the cheapest possible hospital so they can bandage him up with sandpaper, I get tipped off about that flash drive we found in, Asmund Gold's apartment by someone who told me to meet him at the Yakuza 7 bar. You may have some pressing questions about this guy, Jin Kawanazama. He was apparently a normal guy according to his uncle-in-law, so why exactly is that an alias and he's really Yuki Takata? Why exactly can he casually request that Chinese mafia hitmen leave us alone and then they do? And why was he going to Sawa-sensei's apartment mid-break, and why did he run away from it, and why is she dead? He wants me to hand him the drive before he ding-dong ditches Yokohama permanently. However, I stole Kawana's most likely just hard-cranking material. Fair and square, and I'll be danged if I gotta give it up before making sure it doesn't accidentally crack this case wide open. Outside of the office, Shredder waited to tell me he would be jumping me before jumping me. So after a brief kicking, he admits he's also wondering why the Arcade Gang is pushing into his city. I don't know either, and to save face, he will be making me his sworn brother, and as his sworn brother, and us hating Soma, he will be skinning Soma alive with a cheese grater. I don't care enough to object. Before we continue though, know that I decided to buy all the downloadable extras so I can flex on the floor with a hoverboard. Here's my comprehensive review. The new fighting style, just the boxing minigame, but you can use it against street urchins to introduce them to the concept of a compound fracture. Literal superpowers, the dating side quests. Something about that side quest has to do with dating. Get paid by a ninja to infiltrate another ninja's ninjutsu nindojo and break his spine. That one isn't in the DLC. You could just do that one. Lastly, add the Judgmen as opponents in the boxing minigame. Finally, I get to kill Ed Sheeran. Anyways, back at Yokohama 99, we see that there was only one file on the drive of me in high school. Taking place 13 years ago, we see all the key players. The guys that spied on us in the warehouse, the groping victim, the head honcho bully is the guy Arcade's hunting down that is certainly dead. Everyone who went to this high school that's relevant now was running this kid's pockets back in 08. Except for Sawa. But she's dead right now. Oops. And the kid being bullied, he's Mitsuru Kusamoto, who's been in a coma since this exact day, meaning this was the incident that caused him to take everyone's favorite lightning guy's advice. Now, why did Kawana have a video of these people taking the pants off of a minor? You know, that's a great question, because as it turns out, Kawana was... Hey, how's it going? It's me, Kawana. That isn't even his name. His real name is Kichikabe Toshiba did, in fact, bully Hara's son. All other homeroom teachers just went, yeah, okay. The teacher that enabled all of that to happen, I guess. So after a quick hospital visit...
Tack, you're back.
We're gonna go to the groping victim's apartment one more time, and who better to help than another brain damage? Hey, it's Yagami. I gotta harass someone again.
Not again.
My go-to just died.
Look, it's a learning experience. We'll learn together.
Shut up. Good morning. What is it outside? I don't have a sense of time. We just need your input on a few things.
What is it you want to
The
ask?
groping was orchestrated, right?
You were in on it, weren't you? Helping that man create an alibi for his murder.
You need to leave. Right now.
Oh yeah, you also bullied that kid, and he wanted to kill himself.
If you don't get up and say...
Yeah. Where's your teacher, huh? Answer me!
28 seconds.
Welcome to the Payday Gang fight, otherwise known as the authorities trying to impede my impeccable ruse. I began punching them like a normal person as Dream somehow throws an entire table Jesus Christ. After any word that doesn't happen to be kidnapping Mamiya, we bring her to Higashirino's arcade in Tokyo. He has his objections, something about this place not being a dungeon. What else are you supposed to use it for? Somewhere between dying of asbestos and lead like the rest of us, Yui Mamiya tells us that Kawana is indeed behind the murders of the bullies that caused suicides, namely the head bully of that video, Shinya Kawai, and more recently, Hiro Mikashiba. As for everyone else from that video, Mamiya included, they are being blackmailed into murder accomplices for him using the video, which itself is fairly incriminating, but he also has a recording of them bagging Shinya Kawai right before Kawana privately killed him. That's the real cheddar. That's a life sentence right there. Anyway, so I get a call.
Hey, Yagami, I broke into your house. It's me, Kawana.
Oh, hey, that's convenient. After promptly dismissing Mamiya into the harbor, I go to the meet and greet and see his perspective. When Kawana was a teacher at Kurokawa Academy, he wasn't aware of the extent of the bullying until he was warned by, get this, Sawa herself. But by the time he recovered that video from a hidden camera he placed, Mitsuru had already jumped. At that moment, Kawana had entered what the kids would call a reasonable crash out, so after getting fired, he blackmailed his entire class and began going around the country killing people for stealing lunch money in their formative years. It's actually not that stupid, but you wouldn't know that because of my goofing. And every time he kills, he approaches the parents of the bullying victim going, hey, let's go get him. And every time, the parents oblige. Oh yeah, also remember when we met him, he hired the Yokohama Liumang and that mysterious woman was Mamiya. Anyways, Kawana then jumps out of my window and I am not done throttling him for information.
Here I come.
Kawana seems to have led me to a parking area so his students can incapacitate me. Problem with that, I beat them all up in like 15 seconds alongside the table throwing ginger, so I was able to get it done in like 20. Apparently, Mamiya stuck around too and tries to hit me with another bat. It doesn't work. Unlucky!
I'm not done with my questions.
Back at the arcade with everyone, except Kaito, I guess.
Don't be holding back on me.
We get a rundown on what really happened in the sexual battery incident. Now, I know that you were ruminatively noting down the events of the first video, you were, obviously, but on the off chance you somehow didn't, here's what happened. A couple days back, footage of Ehara killing his son's bully was anonymously posted on several online Fortnite role-playing groups. Sounds incriminating, right? Well, you'd think that. Nerd! At the exact same time as that had to have taken place, Ehara was waiting at Shinjuku Station on the prowl for a suitable gyat, but we know that this man is not Ehara, but a body double. After an hour of waiting, he gets out on the next train with Mamiya, they pretended she was being groped, and at the destination, he ran out, swapped himself with the real Ehara at the only camera blind spot in the station, and the real Ehara got arrested. Now he's serving a diddying charge instead of one for killing a guy. He didn't do all that just to get away with it though, because months later, he could play a funny prank on the courthouse by casually admitting where the location of Mikoshiba's body is, and they can't do nothing. Mamiya confirms all of that is true, the issue being that if I brought this up to a court of law, they'd send me back to my padded cell, so we need evidence not acquired through kidnapping before then. Additionally, that body double is in fact just Kawana with an Ehara mask, because they're working together, which you know with the insane amount of context I just vomited on you. Lastly, everything from the ticket to the cloth microfibers on the real Ehara's hand was all set up to get this to work. Okay, that was a lot. Now why are we doing any of this? The trial's already over. Why search for more evidence to appeal our last case in vague hopes we can get back some of the reputation again Lodges lost after failing the trial? Well, A, the goth femcel asked me to, and B, yes ma'am. So after going to Ehara again,
Stillwater plus English or Spanish plus Balkan Rage plus Funk.
This is
plus
what I wanted to be
plus
doing
no
today.
Adrenaline, those who know.
After a bit of flavor text in the form of giant cutscenes as per Yakuza tradition, I take a call while standing in a four-way intersection, and Sari tells me that, well, since Kawana always lets the bullied kid's parents take a stab at them like Ehara did for Mikashiba, that would mean that Shinya Kawai was killed by the single mother of Mitsuru, Reiko Kusamoto, who, if you remember, is the Vice Minister of Health. RK is after Kawana, right? As for why, it's possible Reiko has hired them as a local gang to hunt a guy in a different city because things are starting to hit the fan and she needs Kawana silenced. Could've just hired the Liumang for that, but I guess they were busy trying to kill me, so whatever. That would certainly explain why he's on the news for allegedly killing Sawa-sensei and also some Twitch whispers, I don't really know. Look, we gotta go to the warehouse cops about this, but that guy won't tell me anything. Fortunately, I can harass him in person, since Tsukumo traced him through background noise. Wow, you cannot do that ethically. So after convincing him,
Take a piss, Yagami. You're looking hydrated.
Yeah. He tells me that the top brass wiped all camera footage with Soma, the rest of the arcade gang, and me. Additionally, Kawana has to die in an accident. Yagami does not like his answer, and he's going to beat this man up now. Here's the problem. The QuickTime event that always occurs in the middle of the fight, if failed, kills you instantly in one of the only instances in the entire Yakuza franchise. That doesn't happen even for Harry Handcuff getting hit by an 18-wheeler like my dog. And if you use a gamepad like a real Yakuza, you need to input a joystick command, except it registers snapback. If you are not extremely precise in and slightly moving it, you're going into the drink. Now with a few more craters in his skull, he tells me that the Japanese CIA, aka Public Security, orchestrated that after the big Yakuza Tojo clan disbanded, the former members would go to RK where they have tabs on them. So if RK murders someone, big whoop, they gotta keep RK around. It didn't happen. Quintessentially, the feds gave Soma a blank check to kill anyone. Surprised that the government is corrupt, Yagami makes his way to Yokohama's Korean mafia block that RK just began raiding in search of Kuwana. So it is now time for the stealth. So after, wait, that's...
I find a lot of it funny that I probably...
Can you please leave me
maybe
alone?
shouldn't.
After 8 combat encounters and 2 hours of yapping, the Gomijil show up to tell us some very vital information for our ears only. So, Kuwana isn't here, he's back at the Liumang hideout, and we need to leave right now. After collecting some supplies and making our way through the infinite matrix of Restaurant Road Chinese men encounters, we meet Kuwana again, begin discussion on who has it out for him, and I hit my newfound 10-year what you think you're better than me joint. I'm broke now.
Well, I don't polycotton to coping tropes, not even my own.
Oh yeah? Well, you know what?
What?
Sawa-sensei.
Are you just gonna start bringing that up like all the time?
Listen, this psyche ain't big enough for 2 metaphysical seekers. You couldn't... Hey, it's Edward Scissorhands, we gotta go. I know, cause it would be an egg! Yeah, they're gonna kill each other. You wanna stop?
Nah.
Why? Funny. Alright. After that, everyone shares a nice meal as Kuwana and Yagami refuse to look at each other like angry toddlers. For the time being, collectively, our enemy is Ice Pick McStabby Pants and the CIA, so I suppose we have to help out Kuwana. We are now friends. He wants to call Reiko to tell her some vital information, but he wants to see if anyone will show up when we do that, so we need a phone relay.
Okay, I'll break it down.
When that happens, if RK is under the beck and call of public security, they'll show up to toss me off a balcony and scribble it in as a COVID death, and then they did. Minus the balcony and COVID part, because I slaughtered them on 2 times playback by abusing certain poorly balanced unlockable abilities. Unfortunately, we didn't account for Patrick Public Security to tell Reiko that he has the flight logs. Therefore, the next day we coax her into a taxi with an ancient spell written on an iPod, or whatever these moon runes say, I turned up the subtitles, and she explains why Public Security has it out for her. Reiko has some enemies, probably due to her Caustic Concordia great promotion history, and those enemies don't like how she prevents them from accessing the $1 trillion pension fund because they essentially want to gamble it. She didn't want to kill Shinyu Kawai too, even after Sawa told her about the bullying, and then Kuwana told her she definitely could if she wanted to, but that changed when she approached Shinyu Kawai in person and he thought she was a cougar. And then she killed him. But it doesn't matter because Reiko will soon be turning herself in as opposed to living as a puppet because of Public Security's knowledge about her vengeance plot. Huh, thought Yagali. It's a very good thing there are no factors currently at play that could cause her to change her mind about doing that. For some reason, when I brought up to Kuwana that the person he let take out a rightful vengeance as a mother and get away with it has just been convinced by me to turn herself in, he didn't like how I did that. Man complaining, am I right, ladies? After a few minutes of name dropping our good friend
Sawa-sensei, Sawa-sensei.
Is that the only thing? Sawa-sensei.
Kuwana gets sick of me enough to hand me the thing that convinced Ehara to kill Mikashiba. A recording of Sawa-sensei grieving that she was forced to lie that Ehara's son wasn't being bullied even though she knew full well he was. Woman complaining, am I right, fellas? After approaching the judge in private and telling him with a straight face that a train groper is actually a murderer and trying to make you look bad, trust me, Patrick Public Security barges in to observe. He's a pretty stand-up guy, but something about the evil grin, admitting to hiring RK thugs for dirty work, and the phrase hand over Kuwana to me and there will be no more victims leaves a bad taste in my mouth for some reason. Speaking of RK, we have a new lead. They apparently own a couple cabaret clubs around here and hostesses that do well-earned dates with Akutsu. This guy. That's right, for just the small achievement of being the #1 girl of the day, you too can meet the deranged, unpredictable crime lord of your dreams, who, as a reminder, tried to disembowel a local PI with a chainsaw and record it last week. I mean, I guess Ted Bundy had Sims, but you know how we're gonna follow this lead? That's right, Barbie Dress Up!
You know what? I'll do it. I'll comply to your little game.
Dear God! Horrible! Play it. As it just so happens, RK now owns a cabaret from the first game's femcell moonlighting, and its manager remembers and is willing to reinvite this abomination back in. It's a good thing that Yagami called in some help. Oh no! After they bought the most expensive champagne available, which they promptly got blasted off of, the other hostesses begin to suspect I know them. So after choosing an HR violation, I end up winning first place and meet Akutsu at his headquarters. Apparently though, he didn't forget about that time, 4 days ago, when Saori told a few gang members how cool it would be if they admitted to owning any automatic rifles. Joe Judgment did not concuss them hard enough. However, both him and Yagamo were waiting just outside, and guess what? We brought back the Monkey Man. Hey, that was pretty cool. It's time for an info dump. Woo! The first time we saw RK, they were looking for Kawhi, right? That was an order by Soma himself, but how could public security even put him up to that, and how do they even keep tabs on RK in the first place? The answer to that is Soma himself has to be a Fed. But if he is, he'd be listening in on this conversation, so...
It's Soma! He's the imposter! He's the Among Us...
With a slight feeling, Soma may be an undercover agent. Yeah, that explains the hit and run. Yagami, Kaito, and whatever's left of Sari head home, so after a 20-minute power nap in the boy band fit, we visit Higashi, who knows a guy who knows where Soma is. He's former Tojo and spends most of his time at this bar. Thank you for the insight. We need to go back to that gambling hall at the start of the game. It's time to do detective things like fighting guys, breaking my neck by seeing how many of these external air conditioners support my weight, the stealth, and utilizing Kaito and Higashi's distraction. How much am I paying them? Unfortunately, he's not here again, just a bunch of goons and Kosuke. Yeah, him. Meanwhile, Reiko is sitting around in her son's hospital room, which Patrick Public Security, his name is Bondo. Despite Bondo's objections, she tells him she's gonna turn herself in and that's final. Yeah, you know where this is going. V comes too. Back at Yokohama, because we know now Soma didn't even leave, I take a call in the middle of the street again. It's Kawana, and he says he wants to meet again on the boat, but because I'd end up getting followed, I go to meet Shredder and he hooks me up with some cartel tunnels. All I need now is a disguise.
You do this a lot, don't you? Okay, ready to hop in?
This shit ain't nothing to me, man. The Zaza got me connecting the dots. I'm a street creature. My watch costs 50 bands, and I still don't have time for you fuckboys. Threw the op into the particle collider. Turned his sorry ass into some data. Perks put me on the wrong side of history. There are bugs under my skin. I wept for there were no worlds left to conquer. I can feel the fungi munching on my brain. I got to where I am today through violence. I'm thankful for it.
So after losing any arcade tails I could have had, obviously, we climb into a taxi driven by this guy and end up at the boat. You know, the boat. Kawana begins rambling about society while I don't listen to any of it and bring up Sawa-sensei 40 more times. Between the YouTube comment political debate and the palpable romantic tension as per Yakuza tradition, Kawana hands me a pendant of Ehara's son, instructing me to give it to him. And then Soma just walks up and kills the former student that brought me here. They must have trailed him here too, since Kawana covered his tracks well, and Yagami...
I have no morals or belief system. I have no spirituality or anything that gives my life meaning or structure.
Also covered his tracks well, so public security knows about all of Kawana's connections, and the only way they could have got that is if Reiko ratted us out. We start getting mobbed, so it's a really good thing our good pal Kawana queued up a plan B. Hello, gentlemen and mom. It's time for the finale, the no-holds-barred, the final bash and smash and crash and skibbity Kaito ... yes yes. After that undeniable proof that God remains dead, Reiko explains what happened last night with her son. Cause after he woke up, Bondo turned around and asked her if she still wanted to turn herself in. I suppose that means that public security could have always woken him up at any point somehow, and she said no. Taking one last trip to Ehara, he explains to the best of his ability that he doesn't care what happens to him as long as the courts look stupid, so he's gonna admit to killing after he served his alibi sentence. That goes against what we're trying to do, which is replacing his sexual battery charge with a murder one. However, he still agrees to do an appeal. The only reason why he'd want to do that is because he knows we don't have any evidence and he wants to dunk on us. After yet another pointless 8-minute cutscene where the most important thing in it is how two of us checked Ehara's house and saw nothing, and us insulting Shinji for being a beta male, Tsukumo tells us that the pendant has a worm card in it with the original Ehara murder footage, no alterations, and not anonymously posted on the internet. Kawana, not wanting us to succeed in our trial, gave us evidence we can use in it because he thought the file in a birthday cake disguise would work. You know, against detectives. He even comments about how he should have known we'd check it, so was it intentional? Or I don't know, why don't you tell me? If you remember the start of the game when we drove off some bullies by playing the brown note through a couple hidden speakers, you'll remember this guy who is currently telling me RK just kidnapped one of his friends and Coda. After making our way to Miko Shiba's murder scene, there's this part where I think it may be like a quirk of my personal copy of the game, but Yagami expunges some very racist dialogue against Jamaicans. I don't know why he's doing that. Not cool, Yagami. So after beating everyone up, because what else are we going to do? That's how we've dealt with every problem. Soma shows up and tells us that to blackmail students, Kawana kept Shinyu Kawai's body refrigerated somewhere, and now Kawana's planning on releasing its location publicly. Soma, and by extension public security, are trying to keep Reiko from getting arrested, and therefore cannot have that happen. And then he shoots... It's fine though. She bleeds orange juice. That means it's fine. Also, she's apparently a big fan of Dream Minecraft and asked if she could please be next to get groomed. With everything resolved, Yomagi prepares for the day of the trial in order to have his client receive the death penalty for a speeding ticket. So we begin by...
The defense maintains this was not sufficient evidence to
when
issue
did she get so nasally?
From when the suspect and victim board the train car.
Simply saline or like... Anyways, we mention our insane Adderall forged theory that this incident is entirely a cover-up, including the victim's involvement.
Objection!
What?
This is an insult to the victim. Such claims harm the integrity of all women.
Since the prosecutor and my client are currently in agreement that he didn't do it, and also the judges refused to take the worm card as evidence, I'm kind of in hot water. I have to come up with something that'll prevent him from acting dumb. What, you thought it was gonna be this creative revelation? Sawa-sensei. I pull out the recording of Sawa telling Kuwana about the bullying of Ehara's son, what caused Ehara to kill Nikashiba, and the only evidence there was ever any bullying in the first place. We have reason to believe Kuwana's dead because of this. So this is probably the only copy of it, but you know, it's junk. You can fabricate audio, right? You know, obviously. Wouldn't you agree, my good friend Ehara? I'm gonna delete it now.
Wouldn't.
Ah, nice. Got him. So after he admits to it, he also mentions he kept the bloody knife at his house. They didn't check hard enough to see it. I'm not mad. I'm not mad. Prosecutor Takano tells us about how he severely underestimated us and how he's going to change for real this time. I don't know who that is. And then Bondo and Reiko show up to tell us that they can't let Kuwana reveal Kuai's location, especially since the Minister of Health, presumably with a medical background, left fingerprints on her murder victim. Now back in Ichinjo, I see that Kuwana posted and he geotagged that. Alright. After taking the last opportunity of the game to stock up on Michelle Obama's school lunches, it's now time for the Judge Men. Strider 2 County, Sundowner, Hank Dempsey, and whatever Mark Whitten does. I'm on IMDb right now. Hold on. Read from Goodbye. Okay, no, not again. After RK shows up again and he gets tased, the police show up and proceed to brutality. Luckily, some people that hold our firm belief that all cops are breakdancers show up, namely the students of Seiryuu High and our good friend Freddy Krueger. The body is hidden somewhere in this abandoned warehouse. Small problem, the entire RK gang is there. If you're thinking we're gonna devise some elaborate infiltration method, what? No! It's time for the 4v100, featuring Noctis, Gladiolus, Prompto, and Ignis of the Final Fantasy 15 boy band. I mentioned that game a lot. If you're still hung up on the Ace Attorney knockoff, understand that, yeah, this tends to happen. After about 10 minutes of it, we go inside to find more arcades searching all the Shinya Kawaii-sized barrels. I proceed to annihilate them. Once I decide to finish the very bad climbing at some point in my life, I encounter the very inconveniencing airlock. Not to us, however. Higashi is forklift certified.
Oh my god!
What is going on up there? Sir, I found it. You didn't check the fridge. Of course it was in the fridge. You make me angry. Oh, it's our friend. I got a living teacher's salary down here. Selma, never bring a gun to a mouth fight. Oh, wait, stop!
How's an honest warmonger supposed to make a living?
Whoopsies. Oh, I thought that worked pretty good. Oh, then I guess I'll just tap this. Wait, well, what, how did he do that? The gang and Kuwana are gonna cover for me as I enter the Costco walk-in freezer. I hope you're ready for another terrible boss. As the Saint GG character that uses a knife, Soma has a number of abilities. No. While I listen to the Nightmare Before Christmas soundtrack while succumbing to the 30 or so intestinal punctures, I can't help but wonder. Yeah, I did this to myself. All of it. So anyways, Yagambo begins tweaking.
You'll be alone without the darkness to protect you. You'll rot in the cell for the rest of your miserable life.
Alright, cool. Soma can now be turned into either the cops or that guy with the cheese grater. Hold it, Yogamo. I took a page from my good buddy Theodore's book. All 90 of them, in fact. It was me. I was the lost judgment. My actual real name is Ben Belief. My name is Ben Belief. Well, you're forgetting someone. Please don't. Sawa-sensei. What about her? You're ignoring Sawa-sensei. Yes, I know about I gotta get justice for Sawa-sensei. Please just shut up! Man, this guy's really lost his, You wanna just beat each other up? Yeah, kinda. It's finally time to agree with the antagonist, intentionally die to him, and uninstall the game while telling everyone you finished it. Remember the first time we fought him? Because he still doesn't have anything new, unlike certain federal agents. In fact, it was so easy I went to the gauntlet to fight Perfect Kuwana under a 2-minute time limit and beat him on my first try. However, it is fun, and despite how it's about two middle-aged men punching each other in an abandoned IKEA warehouse for basically no reason, the music still goes like... And the more I think about it, the more I am glad this isn't any more hate. When teacher says something so Sawa-phobic, you gotta hit him with that dragon-crushing fist. I'm already married to justice. Ow. Oh, hey, please mind the piles of unconscious gangsters.
I'm going to turn myself in.
Yeah! Yeah, nice one.
I have failed you. My queen.
Wait, hold on, the cougar thing was real? Since Kawana's still going to get blamed for the death of Sop, it doesn't even sound like a real name. We have to let him vanish again, trusting that he stops going around killing bullies. Let's just hope that he's wavering in his beliefs. No. A week later, the prosecutors show up at Bondo's office, telling him that they're going to expose his involvement with Soma using the recovered camera footage from Sawa's apartment. They are going to be assassinated. And as for Yagami, he's probably still on that sex offender list. Okay, that's it. The video's over.
It is I, Captain Majima, from the hit game Yakuza Like a Dragon. Yakuza Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii Yakuza. Today I am here trying the Krabby Patty Cola Burger. Give it a try. So Dave's single Big Macs are.